One of those days that I look forward to oh so much when we get to welcome a new honorary member to the CFCAO. And I'm so excited this time to welcome our new honorary member, Jennifer Valentyne. Hey, it's so great to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. This is such an honor. It's nice to hang out with you today.
I know, isn't it? It's so much fun. And I was so excited when you accepted the invitation to be our honorary member because I think everybody across our organization knows who you are, is familiar with you, and I think they're going to be those that don't already know are going to be so excited to know that you were a cheerleader in the CFL. So take us, I know nobody wants to actually reveal their years sometimes, but take us back. When did you start?
I am A-okay with my age. Age is just a number.
In here.
1986. I was only 18 years old when I actually auditioned to be a cheerleader. And I had thought about it for years, so it was really exciting for me. And I had called them and asked if it was okay because you had to be 19, you had to be drinking age. And they said as long as I was 18 years old before the first game, I would be fine. Oh. So I was pretty excited.
What
so 1986, 87, 88.
Yeah. Was it a lifelong dream, or what brought you to do it?
I think the Toronto Sun, everybody read the Sun back then, and the cheerleaders were always in the paper. And I was a dancer. So I danced ballet, tap, jazz, Highland. So I really think a lot of dancers wanted to be Argonaut cheerleaders at that time, because really, yes, you're cheering for your team, but you're a dancer. And it was not only about cheering, it was about a performance.
Yeah. And representing your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot of charity work. The majority of work that we did was in the community doing charity work.
That's right. So do you remember, I know for me, I remember how I felt going to that first audition. I literally stopped outside the door, thought, I don't even know if I'm wearing the right thing. And I was terrified. What was it like for you going to that audition?
I was afraid because I was the youngest. I was 18 years old, and I'd never done anything like that before. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I was going to be good enough, if my dancing was going to be good enough. And there were only a few spots because, as you know, a lot of the former cheerleaders come back. And even though it's not a guarantee that they're going to be, brought back on the team, they pretty much know what they're doing. So there were only a few spots to fill and hundreds of girls.
Yeah.
And a lot of judges, and they, and I think I was very conservative, maybe even a little bit prudish. So to me, and I was a little shy. So going in there, I felt that a lot of the girls were looking, gorgeous and sexy. And I was like a little bodysuit right up to my neck. And so I was wondering, if I really kind of looked the part, but it was really about the dancing. And that's what it came down to. And so I was really happy about that. It was the dancing. So you went in, I think it was it at the Sheridan? I can't remember, but it was in a big ballroom, like one of the big ballrooms in the hotel. And we had to learn the dance and then perform it. They asked questions, they whittled it down, and then they picked the few girls. And I was shaking, thinking, I didn't think I was going to make it. And I'd already formed connections with some of the girls on the team. Like, we'd already bonded. So, and then when my name was called, it was surreal. I couldn't even believe it. I went, and nobody knew. So I am really great at keeping secrets.
Oh, that's good.
Very good. So I never told anybody. I only told my immediate family, but I didn't tell any of my friends that I was doing this. Nobody knew.
Wow. Now, here's a question that you might not remember the answer. I know for me, I totally remember the answer to this one for me, but do you remember what song it was you had to dance to for the audition?
No, I don't remember. What was your song?
Billie Jean, Michael Jackson.
A sign of the times.
1983.
Yeah, that's amazing that you remember.
It's burned in my brain. I remember what I was wearing. I remember everything about the second year that I auditioned. I don't remember, but the first year it was just it made such an impression in my brain. And I was also afraid, like, what if I can't dance as well as these other girls? What if I can't do this? What if I can't do that? And I believe I was 19 at the time. So yeah, it was a little
Young.
scary. It was a
It was
little bit
very scary.
scary.
And these girls came in, the girls that had already been on the team, with such confidence because they
Oh,
already had a year, some of them 2 years under their belt, and they walked in and, you know, they were just oozing confidence,
right?
which I
Mhm.
love, but it scared me. So I wanted to be one of them.
Yeah. Now people don't realize that once you start, and I don't know if you knew when I started, I didn't realize exactly how much time commitment it was. It was a big time commitment, a lot of practice. Um, do you remember that going from those practices to the first time on the field? What did you think, see, feel?
I think that's why I have a good work ethic until this day. I always have. You know, not only did I get it from my parents, but if you're going to be a cheerleader, a Toronto Argonaut cheerleader, any cheerleader in the CFL, you know what kind of commitment it is.
Mhm.
4 nights a week.
Yes,
You
same with us.
lived there. And yeah, and then you were out in the community on the weekends, and then you were cheering on the field. So people didn't realize how much work we put into it. And yeah, you really bond with all the ladies that you get to know. But
Mhm.
I'll never forget it. I loved every second of it. There wasn't a night where I went, oh, I wish I wasn't going to practice tonight, because you were
No.
getting exercise, you were learning routines, and you were bonding with a group of women that you didn't know at the time, but they
Mhm.
were going to be lifelong friends.
Yeah. And it was an eye-opening thing to actually be in. I mean, you danced, I did some dance and music, and you performed before, but it's different when you're in front of that big crowd at a football game.
It really is. It's scary. Your very first football game, you're terrified,
Mm-hmm.
and then you love it. You know, you love
Oh,
it. You're up on the big screen. You're dancing. You may make a few mistakes, but nobody really notices. And once you get that one game over with, it's smooth sailing from there.
how many seasons did you do?
3.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like I look back on that and I feel it was such a privilege to be able to do that, because it is kind of a eh, not everybody gets to do that. It's an exciting thing.
No, and then I was going to go back for another year, because both you completely understand, because you were a cheerleader when you were young. So I
Mhm.
could go back for one more year, but I got a job in
Yeah,
broadcasting. So I was
figured.
going to school for broadcasting. I was in high school. It was right at the end of my high school year. And they made the announcement on in the morning announcements at high school. So that was exciting. That's how all my friends found out. My girlfriends were coming up going, tell us you were doing this. But I was captain of the cheerleading team in high school, so I don't think it was too much of a surprise. And then I went into broadcasting, and while I was going to school for broadcasting, I was cheering, but I was also volunteering at Much Music. And so this was my career. This is the career that I wanted to do. So when I went back for another year, I really wanted to cheer in the Sky Dome,
Oh yeah.
which is not called the Sky Dome anymore, but at the time it was called the
It
Sky
was.
Dome, and that was a big thing in Toronto. So cheering in the Sky Dome, I'm like, it's just a no-brainer. I have to go back for that my first year in the Sky Dome. And then I got a call. I was volunteering at Much Music, and I got a call because I'd already graduated college, and I got the call saying, "Okay, we're giving you a full-time job." And I had the Toronto Sun, who,
Mhm.
were responsible
Volunteers.
for
Yep.
the Argonaut cheerleaders. We were Sunshine Girls. I gave them a call and I said, I got to talk to you. I said,
Yeah.
I gotta quit, and I'm not a quitter,
No.
but I couldn't, because this was my career, and it was nights, weekends, it was all over the map. So I couldn't make all those rehearsals, and you
No.
know how many
It's a
rehearsals that you
commitment.
had to do.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, and they were great. They were so happy for me. They said, we completely understand. You will be replaced. And
But you had the
that was it.
experience. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
when you think back, and there are so many great memories, and I mean, I've got some that are, moments of intense pride, and there are other ones that are
Who's
moments.
calling?
I know. Hello.
My daughter.
Oh, yeah, I'm expecting mine to do that anytime. But yeah, there are moments we have, right? And
I declined her. I declined
oh,
her for
you're the
you.
best. Okay. So we have moments that we're so proud. There are moments, but they're also there are some funny things that happen because we are
Yes.
living in the moment out there. We are, you're reacting to different things that happen. Is there something that comes to mind that was really funny that just kind of stays with you?
So many things. But the one thing that, the girls kind of teased me a little bit. Like I told you, I was a little bit prudish, you know what I mean? And you wouldn't think that being a cheerleader and you're out
Oh
there and you've
yeah.
got the uniforms are not that big. But for me, the uniform was a little low cut, right? I didn't want to show
Mhm.
any cleavage. And so the girls would all make fun of me because before each game, I would pull my uniform up to here. And then I would pin my bra to the uniform so you couldn't see my cleavage. And they would be like, "What are you doing?" But if I had it back, there'd be no pin. I'd just
Yeah,
be
there
out
you
there. I
go.
would be. But you know what? It's who I was, and it's,
There's nothing wrong with
everybody was
that.
different. Everyone
Yeah.
was different on the team.
And you guys
And
you had cute uniforms. You guys had cute uniforms.
we did. We did. And I still have the uniforms.
Do you? We didn't get to
Yeah,
keep
you had to.
mine. I wish I did.
No, you didn't get to keep, nobody got to keep their uniforms. The only reason why I did is because I left the team and they didn't ask for the uniforms back.
Okay.
So
Because I
they
wish I
don't
had
fit me
one of
anymore.
mine.
They don't fit me anymore.
Well, yeah, I look back at some of the pictures and I'm like, oh man, yeah, no. Yeah. We had gold lame spandex that didn't give that much. So I couldn't even imagine trying to get back into that thing. No way.
But they would be nice to have, right? I understand why they asked them to be returned, but they would
Sure.
be nice to have.
Oh yeah. Now, was there, I mean, for me, it was my big thing was cheering at Grey Cup games. Was there a really proud or exciting moment that stays with you?
Well, we went to the Grey Cup in Edmonton in
Yeah.
1987. I think we lost. But we went to the Grey Cup in 87 and we got to go to Vancouver. So this is the only time that the cheerleaders actually get to travel with the team. So
Yeah.
this is an exciting time. I don't know the rules now, but back then you traveled when the team traveled for the Grey Cup.
Grey Cup, that was it.
So, oh, it was so exciting. I'd never been to Vancouver and we were cheering in BC Place and I had everything packed, ready to go probably a week before, but as we got closer to that date, I became very ill. So
Oh
I got
no.
bronchitis, but I was still going. So I coughed it was terrible. I shouldn't have been cheering on a field in the freezing cold, but I was going. So we got to Vancouver and after the game, we had a party at one of the hotels there, and I don't remember the hotel. And there's 32 girls in the team, and two of us decide we're going to go downstairs into the hotel bar just to have a drink. Just the two of us, just check out the hotel. And we go into the bar, and John Travolta is in the bar with
No.
his friends. Yeah, and I was like, it's John Travolta, and I think he was filming maybe Look Who's Talking at the time in the late 80s.
Wow.
And so I'm like, go up to him, say something. And my girlfriend's like, no, you go up to him and say something. And I said, oh, I got a great idea. We'll go upstairs into the ballroom and we'll ask all the girls. We'll say, John Travolta's in the bar downstairs. Why don't we all go down and get a memory picture? We'll get a photo of all of us and John Travolta with all the cheerleaders. So all the cheerleaders pile into the elevators and we all go down to the bar. And John Travolta's at the bar. Quiet night, couple friends. Not expecting this, the cheerleaders attacked John Travolta. Totally jumped on him, freaking out. I think John Travolta was a little bit freaked out. So at first he was like, hey, hey, and then he went running. It was like he was one of the Beatles. He went running out of the bar. Like, leave me alone. And he ran through the lobby into a vehicle and then shoot it off. And we never got a picture.
I was just gonna say, did you get a picture? Because we got to think that back in, the mid late 80s, unless you carried a camera with you, you didn't get pictures of anything.
I don't have pictures of, well, isn't that a blessing though, that we don't have pictures from
Well,
back
in
then?
some cases, yeah.
But I had my camera with me.
Oh,
So
okay.
my regret is not going up to him and saying,
Mhm.
can we get a photo? And
Yeah.
then telling everyone after, but you know what? It makes a good story. Poor John Travolta. I don't know if he'd ever remember that, but at some point in my lifetime, I'd love to meet John Travolta and get that
And
photo.
tell him, oh yeah. Oh, that's a great story. Oh boy.
It is. It was funny.
Wow. Now, after your 3 years, did you manage to keep in touch? Because we spend so much time with this group of women. And then because again, because of the years that we cheered, there was no social media. And I know that for myself, I kept in touch with a couple and kind of felt, but I've gotten back to them. What about you?
So I did keep in touch with the girls that you bond with, right? They become your best friends, really. It's
Mhm.
like you spend a lot of time with these ladies. So I did keep in touch with my group, and then the alumni team formed. And through
Right.
the alumni, you see all the women that you maybe lost contact with over the years. And of course, now with social media, we're all connected. But then I became friends with women that I never cheered with. So I feel like we did cheer together because we're so close now. And people will say, oh, did you guys cheer together? And we'll look at each other and go, no, actually, we didn't. We met on the alumni team.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot in common still because we were all cheerleaders. But now I have a lot of friends. And even though you don't get to see them all the time, sometimes it's a larger groups, smaller groups, we're always there for each other. I
Yes.
could phone any one of those women and say, I need you or I need your help, and they will be there for me
Mhm.
like that. So
I
it's
find it
pretty amazing, the
interesting.
bond.
Yeah. I mean, through the CFCAO, we have women from all across the country and eras like there are women who cheered in the 1950s, all the way up to girls, women who've just finished their cheer careers now. And I find it just fascinating to hear the stories. And we share similar things, yet some things that are very era specific. Now, you and I cheered in the same era. Um,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of change in cheerleading and what we see on the field and the way it's done. Um, what are your thoughts on the evolution of the CFL cheer team?
I think that change is always good. We've learned so much over the years,
Mhm.
and I think if, when I tell stories to my daughter, she'll go, really? That happened? But the thing is, it was a different time, and we really have to
Yes.
remember that. We can't look back in the past and go, I cannot believe that. It was a different time.
Mhm.
And I don't think we flinched. I don't think we said,
No.
oh my goodness. So, for instance, you had to be a certain weight, almost
Yes.
like a fighter, like in a weight class. And we would have somebody come in and they would look us at all, and you'd be shaking because you didn't want to be pointed out. And they would be looking at your body to think, oh, I mean, I've been through it my whole life because I was in ballet. So it was the
Mhm.
same sort of thing. I was a dancer. So I didn't really think that there was anything wrong with that.
No, and that
Um,
was the time. We had the
it
same.
was the time. And
Mhm.
so we would like be picked out, and I was picked out at one of the practices, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, you could be kicked off the team if you gain
Mhm.
too much weight. So you had to go in front of everyone. It was quite embarrassing, and you
Mhm.
had to stand on a scale, and they would record it. And I remember I gained 2 pounds, so I went from 121 pounds to 123 pounds, and I was told to lose the 2 pounds. So when you think about that, you go, what?
Wow.
But I'm telling you, it was the time. Nowadays, if somebody did that to my daughter,
Yeah.
like I think it's a different time. I don't think they're doing that
No, I
anymore.
don't think they're doing that anymore either, which is good. But yeah,
And I
we
don't
went through
think
the
it's
same
bad to
thing.
talk about.
No.
I just don't, because we see how far that we've come as women. And but still, I still think that a lot of cheerleaders went into the cheerleading. Yes, it's not that we didn't love football, but we did it for ourselves. We did it
Mhm.
to progress in our career. We did it for the love of dance. We did it for the performance. But yeah, there were things like that, or how you wore your hair. Like I couldn't even color my hair a different color.
No.
I had to get permission to color my hair if I wanted to go lighter, if I wanted to go darker. So there were things like that, but things have changed.
But the style was a bit different too. When I'm at the games now and I see that it's kind of neat, like the very athletic cheer squads. I mean, there is the dance and they're great dancers, but there's also they're doing some of the cheer. Like my daughter was a competitive cheerleader in the very athletic, the tumbling and there's all of that on the field now, which I find really fun to watch.
Me too. Like I said, times have completely changed. It's a different world.
Hmm.
And back then, I mean, being a Toronto Argonaut Sunshine girl, you were encouraged to be a Sunshine girl. You were
Hmm.
encouraged to go into the newspaper and pose in a
Yeah,
bikini or a cute little bathing suit.
yeah.
And I did it, but I was, again, nobody was putting my photo up on their wall. I was in the like, I should show you this photo.
Oh,
It's
that's
like
funny.
I can't. I'll send it to you. But yeah, I don't think anybody put my photo up on their wall. There again, like the whole sort of one piece. It was polka dot.
Oh man, that's so funny.
But in any case, you know.
You were the Sunshine Girls. We were the Hamilton Tiger Cat Golden Girls, which is a cool name, except the Golden Girls were still on TV at the time.
Yes, and they were older.
Yeah, a little. Yeah. But it was great. It was fun. And it sounds like you are like I am. I am so glad that that's part of my story, part of my background. What would you tell someone if you were out at an event or something and someone came up and said, I kind of wanted to audition for the Argos or for the Saskatchewan, whoever you meet someone, what would you tell a young person wanting to audition?
I think go for it. Absolutely. You're gonna have the time of your life. And I'm gonna tell them to do it for you, do it
Hmm.
for yourself, and take in every moment and create memories, as many as you can. Like you said, we didn't really carry cameras around with us.
No,
So the few photos I do have, I cherish them. And of course I put them all over social media, but I don't have a lot, you
no.
know?
I wish
So I
I
don't
had
think you
more
have to
too.
tell young people to do that these days, but just take it all in and realize that it's going to change your life as far as, you know, who you hang out with and just
Mhm.
forming bonds. And I think it's a great experience, but do it for you.
That's right. Absolutely. So now, before I let you go, I want you to share
Mhm.
what you do now because I think it is absolutely fabulous. What is Jennifer Valentine doing now?
Well, I spent my career in broadcasting and listen, I've had some really great times. Uh, I'm very lucky. I'm blessed to have had the career that I've had. I've been very outspoken about equality recently
That's great.
on social media and trying to change things in the broadcasting world for women.
Hmm.
And now I've moved on to social media, which is anybody can be involved. There is no ageism on social media.
No.
And that's what I love about it. And there's so many platforms to choose from, like, or all of them: Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
TikTok, on the TikTok. But this is now a career for anyone, with something to share and helping businesses grow. And whether you just want to do it for fun or you want to make a career out of it, or if you're a singer and you want to promote your music, or
Mhm.
an artist who wants to sell art all across the world. So that's what I do now. So I work hard at it, and I think it's pretty neat because people would stop me on the street and say, "Oh my gosh, I know you from TV, or I watched you
Mhm.
growing up in the mornings." And now I have people stopping me and saying, "I follow you on social media." So that's the way the world is going at this point. And what I love is that the young people don't have to go through an executive to tell them whether they're good enough, they're smart
Yes.
enough, they're talented enough. You can go on social media and promote your brand, your art, and do it yourself. And that's what I love more
Well, you
than
only have to be
anything.
true to you.
And hopefully it stays that way.
I
Hopefully it
hope
stays
so.
that way, because there is some government intervention right now and they are trying to change things, but artists are fighting back. So we'll
Yeah.
see where it goes.
Now, for people that haven't tuned into your TikTok yet, I think it's fabulous. And my only warning to people is you kind of get caught up in there. But tell us about what they see. What is your what is the style of what you're doing?
So, everybody has their own style. So when I really sort of try to reinvent myself yet again, because as women, we're fighters,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily last as long as the men in any business. And we do reinvent ourselves throughout our lifetime. And I've done it a few times now. So I really had to sit down and think, what do I want to do? How do I want to present myself on social media? And my advice to anybody is do what you love. So, what do you love doing more than anything? And I said, well, I like cooking. I'm not the greatest. I'm a home cook. And it's sort of like, if I can do it, you can do it.
Hmm.
I'm not a chef. I like making cocktails and I like doing a little bit of comedy. I love to dance still. So, I love those dance trends. So then I thought that's what I'm going to do on social media, what I love to do. Some people love singing, some people love knitting, some people love, and I love singing too. And it's just kind of a bit of everything, but I try to stay with the recipes because I love trying out new recipes and I hope that other people do too. And sometimes people love them, sometimes people go, it's not my cup of tea, I don't really like meatloaf, whatever it is I'm cooking, but I just kind of do what I feel and what my passion is. So my advice, I'm not that you're asking me to give advice to people, but my advice for anybody out there is to always follow your passion no matter what you do in life.
Well, it's that old saying though, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
It's
It's
true. And it's okay if you
exactly.
work too. If you have another job and you do it on the side,
Mhm.
that's okay too.
And how often do you post?
I try to post every day.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so sometimes I do two recipes in one day so I can have a day off somewhere along the line because
Hmm.
I think these social media content creators really sort of work 7 days a week.
Yeah,
And, that's not good for anyone. You got to have one day of rest at least. So I think they're so pumped and passionate about what they're doing that they post every single day. So you really have to say to yourself, it's okay to take a week off and not post at all. I think
mhm,
people really respect that too. But to
I think
take
so.
a day or two off, so if that means you got to, do a little bit more content or don't do content, I think people get it if they look at your platform and say they didn't post today. Some people only post once a week. It's whatever you feel.
That's right.
So for me, I try to post every day.
Okay, that's great. I'm hoping, well,
Yeah.
I know when we post this, is a lot of our members are going to check out your TikTok, so you'll get some more followers. That's good news. I have one more question before we wrap it up, though, and that's just what does it mean to you to be selected as our honorary member?
I didn't even know you could be selected, so I was excited. I'm honored. This means
Oh,
a lot to me. Like I don't talk about my cheerleading days too much. I think people know that I was a cheerleader, but it was a good time in my life. I have some amazing memories that will last a lifetime. So it really does mean a lot. So I just want to thank you so much because it
oh.
really was a surprise to me to get that phone call from you.
Well, it means a
And we're
lot to
connected.
us. Yeah, it means a lot to us to have you as our honorary member because I just knowing how many people love you and are going to see you and make a connection and maybe learn a little bit more about our organization too. It means a lot to us that you are willing to be our honorary member.
Well, it means a lot to me that you asked.
Oh, well, thanks
Because
so much.
honestly, it does. I don't get asked for too many things. I haven't won too many awards in my life, so getting this phone call, believe me, it definitely means a lot.